Hi, welcome to Hope in the Light of Suicide. I'm Tammy White. I'm your host and the founder and CEO of the Bobby White Foundation. I want to welcome you this weekend. This past week was St. Patrick's Day, so I'm going to talk about that here in just a few minutes, just for a special reason. But first, I want to thank John with Area 52 Media Group, Area 52 TV for allowing us to bring you this show, and to Joseph, our tech guy in the background. So we wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for them. That's for darn sure. So, and also to one of our sponsors, Delane Gaston with the mortgage firm. Anything mortgages, she is your gal. I reiterate this every single week, but it is absolutely true. She is the best there is. So I want to thank all of them. Not only for the sponsorship and helping us bring this show to you, but just for being friends and support and everything. John and Delyn has been with me along this road from the very beginning, and I really super appreciate it. So this past week it was St. Patrick's Day, and it's kind of it's a fun drinking day for most people, but it's kind of a special day for our family. My father-in-law, Bobby's dad, was actually born on St. Patrick's Day. So since my mother-in-law passed away several years ago, we hadn't. My father-in-law passed away, 20 plus years ago, and but when my mother-in-law was still alive, we would still celebrate St. Patrick's Day, my father-in-law's birthday. And we haven't done that since she passed away. It's been over 10 years, I think. It's been longer than that. 15 years closer. But anyway, so, and with losing Bobby, none of the family, we didn't get together anymore. And Sunday, over the weekend, our nephew Michael texted me and said, "Hey, we're gonna have a small get together, St. Patrick's Day tomorrow on Monday, and come on up." And I had just gone out to the store and bought a nice big corned beef and a big head of cabbage and some potatoes and carrots and stuff, and was gonna make dinner. Our family is notorious for doing things at the last minute. But I thought, well, no, I'm gonna go up there, and it'll be fun. And so St. Patrick's Day here at home was Friday. So, anyways, cook during the week and nibble on it at lunch because it's a busy week. I had events like every single night. But anyway, so I went up to my nephew's, and we didn't have the traditional corned beef and cabbage. His wife made Reubens, which were delicious, especially Michael's special Reuben. And my two sister-in-laws were there, Mary and Patty, and my brother-in-law Danny, Michael's dad, and the two girls, Haley and Josie. And we just had a really nice evening for several. I didn't get home until after 10 o'clock. And they live like a half hour away. So for me, that's a long ways. But anyway, so it was really nice. And because we just hadn't done anything like that. And really, I only see, especially my sister-in-laws, maybe at Christmas. We don't get together that much at all during the year, but it was nice. And with the girls, because our niece Haley, she's going to graduate from high school this year, and just figuring it out because her and Josie were so young when we lost Bobby. I think Haley was 8 years old when we lost Bobby, and now she's driving and going to graduate from high school. It's just crazy how, remember looking at the pictures of them when they were little, right after we lost Bobby, and how they have grown, and just great, great kids. I mean, just really good kids. And that's thanks to, of course, to Mike and Amy. But it was a really nice evening, and especially because too we're getting closer to the anniversary of us losing Bobby, and my nephew walked me out to the truck when I was getting ready to leave, and we were talking, and 'cause he was pretty close to his uncle, and with this time period coming up, and he's been reminiscing, and I told him, and I said, and this is something that I've told you guys before too, is that there's just such a heavy pain, in my heart, and that I really wish that one day, and I hope that one day, that I know it's never going to go away completely, but if it would just alleviate itself sometimes. So he and I were talking about that, but he's a good kid, good support. So again, it was nice, to just get us together, and we just got together and chilled and ate a little bit. And, no, it was cool. So I was really happy with that. Again, and I don't know if it's this year because we started the support groups, and so now that's an added thing that we have going into this time of year, which is a good thing. I mean, seriously, it's a good thing for the people in our community. I don't know if that's making it any more difficult for me or not, because really, quite frankly, most of the time, I don't even remember this time last year or the year before that or the year before that. It just, your mind has a way of protecting you. So I don't know if that's what it is or not either. But with our support groups, I want to remind everybody too that our next support groups will meet in April. The Spring Hill Hernando County Support Group. Of course, we meet at NAMI, the NAMI Hernando office, and that is going to be on Wednesday, April 9th at 6:30. And then the West Pasco group will be meeting on April 17th at the Oasis Coffee Spot at 6:30. We're still working on trying to get one into the Dade City area. It's not going like I really want it to go, but it'll fall into place when it's supposed to, because we are also working on the doing a 10-week course with understanding your suicide grief, with Dr. Wolfelt's book and kind of grief course. So we're gonna, like last week, I was trying to get through Touchstones 3 and 4. So we got through Touchstones 3. So we're going to continue with The Wilderness of Suicide, Grief, Finding Your Way. And you can find this book. You can go to his website, the Center for Loss and Life Transitions. In his bookstore, he has this book. It's an easy read book. It's something that you could do, like with each of these touchstones, you could do one touchstone a day for 10 days. And then go back through it again, because I've gone through this book several times. So, and also on his website, check out his calendar and see if by chance he might be giving a free seminar in your local area. It's really worth going to. Like I said, he's one of the top grief experts in our country. And it's not just for suicide grief. He covers grief of all sorts, and he has the expertise and the experience in it too. It's not that he just writes about it. He does have the experience, and if you get a chance to go to any of his seminars or lectures, do. It is really well worth it. So this week we're going to go through Touchstone 4, which is explore your feelings of loss. And like I said before, and he said this at a seminar, you have to feel your feelings. You have to go through it. You can't, if you push your feelings down and don't address what is going on, number one, it's going to take you way longer to heal. It's going to affect your mind and your body physically. So you have to be open to exploring your feelings. And it's just important to explore and express your feelings. He says taking ownership of your wilderness emotions, and that's one thing I like about how he writes is some of his metaphors. It helps for me, it helps me relate a little bit easier. Taking ownership of your wilderness emotions is the only way to eventually reorient and survive this life-changing experience. Be patient, steadfast, and self-compassionate. And that you have to do throughout this whole journey. You need to be compassionate with yourself. Being steadfast, that's a little bit harder. Because you're still going to, like I said, grief isn't linear. It's going to be up and down. It's going to be forwards and backwards. And it's going to continue that way for a long time, possibly. I mean, it has for me. In a few weeks, it'll be 9 years. And I still struggle. I would say I still struggle a lot. And even though I read his books, I go through all those things, I've taken online seminars, I studied and gone to seminars to facilitate support groups, but, it's still a struggle. You can still, it's like you can go out in public and put on a face and a persona to get through it. But it's when you get back home mostly. But then sometimes it's not. I went to a networking meeting this week, and I don't know what it was, and it was just a feeling. I was just annoyed with people, and a couple of people were annoying on my way to the meeting, and and then I have that heart hurt, and just wasn't in a really good mood. By the time I left, I was a little bit better, but then our experience at the restaurant wasn't all that great, so it really didn't help that much. But, getting back home and meditating and trying to change my thought process and headspace, that helps. And I started doing something that I used to do when I was younger over this past weekend, and my head goes from one thought to another quite often. But I wanted to do this. I saw these patterns and this little tutorial, I guess, is what it is, on macrame. And I haven't done macrame since I was probably in my early 20s. And so I ordered the tutorial, and it's for 3 different types of cat beds. And as you know, I have cats, and I thought, maybe let me do that. It's supposed to be could be therapeutic. That's what that's my thought process. It's going to be therapeutic. It'll help me concentrate a little bit in spurts as I relearn how to macrame again. And the first piece I'll show you next week how it came along. So just doing things like that. And I have a few other things that I've got lined up to do, plus with work's picking up and getting new mat samples, and just getting my head in a different place. But anyways, he also says, please don't think of your feelings as negative. Think of them as necessary. And they are. You may be sad. I mean, I'm sad a lot. And sometimes you don't even think about it as yourself being sad. But again, you have to go through those feelings. You have to sit with them. That's where eventual healing is going to come from, is going through those feelings, letting them come up. If you have to be mad, you be mad. If you have to cry, cry. If you have to scream, scream. Lordy knows I've done all of that, even in the middle of the night. Remember last year? I think it was last year. I was sick with the flu, and it was horrible. And I couldn't sleep, and I wasn't hungry, so I was really cranky after about a week of this. And it was in the middle of the night, and I just screamed bloody murder, scared the crap out of my cats. But luckily, there was nobody nearby. But sometimes you just have to do that. You have to get those emotions out of your body. You have to go through it. You have to walk with it. And eventually, the healing that we experience, and it's eventual. It's not going to happen like, oh, I'm going to do this once and I'm going to be okay. No, I can't tell you how many times I've gone through this book and many others. But it will come to an eventual healing. And it's something that you need to do. You need to do. It's not a task. It's not something that, oh, I got to go wash the dishes. It's not. It's a need. You need to do that for your mind and your body. And allowing that, and that's what we're striving for, will bring that miracle of healing. Don't know what that is yet. I'm still working on it too. But that's what we do. So, yeah, go check out our website, please. We have art. We're going to have Art for Hope coming up. We've got our purple folders. There's some pictures in there. So, and there's a way for you to donate too. So there's, in the beginning, they got a lot of shock and numbness. You might be in denial. You're in disbelief. I didn't really, I don't think, go through the denial part. And I think maybe part of that is because I was the one who found him. But all the rest, yes. Especially the first year. And I tell people this, quite often, because, and it happened to me too, when I lost my first husband, Michael, in a tragic accident. I don't remember that first year much of anything. I mean, there's little tidbits here and there, but I think mostly it's because I was reminded of it. The only thing that stands out really in the first year of losing Bobby is, and it was pretty major, is 3 months later, what I was doing, it was 3 months after we lost him, and I hadn't gone back to work yet. I was just getting ready to go back to work. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go to this networking meeting. Had been a member of the group for over 20 years. And that following Monday, I'll go back to work. Went to the networking meeting. I think that was on a Thursday. I think the next day was a Friday. I think it was on a Friday, and it was 4th of July. And I thought, well, I'm just gonna do what Bobby and I would have normally done. Barbecued hot dogs, corn, I don't know, whatever else. And was on the phone with my sister-in-law. I was multitasking, had the phone, in my ear like this, taking stuff off the grill, and I turned to step on the step that's a step before stepping into the house. I had done it how many times over 25 years, and somehow I missed the step and I ended up breaking my leg really badly. Food went everywhere. My glasses went flying. The phone went flying. It was a mess. But I think when that happened for me, I mean, and this is my belief, and my mom even said it, and I didn't even think I was surprised coming out of her. But that was kind of like the universe's way of saying, you need to slow down. You need to slow down. You need to stop. And you need to deal with this. And that's all I could do, even though I don't know if it really worked, but I did stop because I was in a cast from my toe to my hip for a month and a half, 2 months, and then in another cast from my knee down for another month. It was a long ordeal. It was a good 6 months, really bad, and then another 6 months recovery. But the universe will do that to you too. Sometimes it'll just say, "Hey, look, you need to slow down and you need to deal with this." And that's the only thing. There's a couple other things that were kind of good and bad that stick out, but for the most part, I think it's our brain's way of protecting us from the shock and the possible denial and just the disbelief. Like I said, it happened when I lost my first husband, and it happened really bad. At least I didn't break anything the first time. I had kidney stones a couple months later, but that's another thing. So you also you may feel disorganized, confused, searching, yearning. You want your life back. Disorganization, that has been, that's been good and continual. And then there's a thing that he says, it's the inability to find joy in things that you used to find joy in. For me, it was my work. The majority of my job is custom picture framing pieces for other people. And I loved it. And after losing Bobby, I lost all that joy because it's creative, and that's what I love. Being creative and artistic, and I lost the joy. I lost the confidence because I lost what I thought was going to be my life forward, and it's taken a lot to get it back. And the concentration is the hard part. Even now, is being able to concentrate. That's getting better because I am finding that if I can focus for even just a little while, then I can get the task done. I can get the job done, and then I do feel good because I'm like, oh, okay, I can do this again, and I'm really good at it. I'm not being like conceited or anything, but yeah, I am really super good at what I do. And I enjoy it, and I'm beginning to get that joy back. Let me see here. Let me go through this because we're going to run out of time again. The thoughts and feelings and behaviors of this dimension do not come all at once. They are often experienced in wave-like fashion. Like I said, you're going to go forward and you're going to go backward. You're going to go up, you're going to go down. 2 steps forwards, 3 steps back, and maybe 1 forward again. Just don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged. Anxiety, fear, and panic. Yeah, because your life just imploded. It's not what it was. The fear. And I don't know, and I didn't even realize it was that, because for almost 30 years I had Bobby by my side. I did not really worry about anything because he was my protector. He was there. He was my confidant. He was my best friend. And you lose that. But one thing is really important, if you can, is to exercise. I know our friends Mitch and Kim, they had a kickboxing place, and they pretty much corralled me and said, you're going to come for 3 months and you're going to exercise and do kickboxing. It was when I was going through the depressive parts pretty bad, and they noticed it, and it did help. I didn't keep up with it like regularly, but it did help. You're going to have explosive emotions. Anger could be one. You'll get through it, but you got to feel it. That's the thing. All these things you have to feel in order to get better. Now, we're going to have to continue this, as I'm not even like halfway through it, but we'll continue with Touchstones 4 next week. But I want to leave you with this quote from Dr. Wolfelt. It says, nope, that's not it. There it is. Stepping into the wilderness of your many feelings of grief is an important and sacred part of your life. And you have to step into it. You have to lean into it. It's the only way you're going to get through it. It's the only way that someday, just like me, someday, most of these feelings will heal. Please remember to put these phone numbers in your phone. Call or text 988, because always remember, you could be the one to bring hope to somebody. There is always hope. Thanks for joining us tonight.